Over to you, Bon.
I'm sure you all know by now that I love interviewing actors, and I'm very excited today to have none other than Mr. Patrick Shai, living legend, sitting on our couch today. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes. You asked me just now if I'd stopped acting, and what did I say to you? I said, I'll never stop, because it's just the love of my life. Do you feel like that?
I feel like that. If I'm not on set for more than 2 weeks, I feel like my whole body is disintegrating. I feel like my soul is on fire. I feel like I'm in
like you're
prison
confused.
of some sort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did it all begin for you?
Well, it started way back in 1976 at the height of the June 16 students' uprisings. And at that time, one was quite volatile in the streets, like the country was. And the late Joe Sakatsi and Joe Mafela they were recruiting dancers for an African ballet dance. And ballet, don't think I'm talking tutus and stuff, I'm talking Indlamu, Spedistwana, African dances. And they were looking for young dancers to come on board. And my mother persuaded me to join, because she was fearing that I might be shot at or be arrested by the special branch.
Yes.
And in 1977, I made the crossover, and Patrick Shai was born as an artist from 1977. Once I joined Mzumba, we used to play a place called the Hair Safari Ranch, run by the late Rechter. May his soul also rest in peace. But what was interesting about that place it's that it was a white tourist attraction, so black people were only there just to entertain, to dance.
To perform.
Yeah, dance awufake ikhumba zakho, amangam ayazwakala, to come and bafake imali, and all of that. And that's where it started. And then on a Sunday, I was met by a guy called Pistorius from the SABC. He was looking for an actor, and he walked up to me and said, "Hey man, you've got the face of an actor. Don't you want to be on TV?"
Just like that?
Just like that. I said, "I've never been on TV." He says, "Okay, this is your opportunity." Give me a number to go and see them in Sandton, and that's where I met Angus Gibson, and as they say, the rest is
the rest, as they say,
Then I met
history.
the Malcolm Pekis. Then we did Sofia Town, toured, the world extensively, Sofia Town, the play. And then I amassed quite a few awards and nominations and stuff like that, and integrated with people of immense significance.
It's amazing that he said you had a face of an actor. When I first met my first agent who discovered me said the same thing. So it's interesting that actors have actor faces. But that time you're describing was quite a volatile time in our politics. Did you feel like you were being launched into a space where you could access places you otherwise would not be able to access?
I think at the time I didn't know what was in store for me. And also interesting things happened to me in my life. There were quite a number of factors that I look back at and say, hey, I know ek verstaan hoekom die ding het so gebeur.
Yeah.
Verstaan jy? So there was, I wake up one, I think it was a Wednesday morning, and my grandmother was very, very ill at that time. And she said to me, I was going to look for a job, basically. And I told her, look, they've called for this audition, blah, 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 blah. And it was for Bophelo ke Sempego.
Bophelo ke Sempego.
The Gigolo Nkusheng.
Nkusheng!
Wena! And my Oma to say, hey, you go, you've got the part. And when I came back, my grandmother had passed on.
Oh.
But I had gotten the part, so
Wow.
it was quite interesting. But also for me, when I say I was kind of born again in the arts, I discovered that the fire in me as a kid who threw stones in 76,
Yes.
who inhaled tear gas, who then joined or formed a suicide group to respond to the brutality of the special
Of the
branch
apartheid regime, yes.
the white regime then. There were 4 of us who were in the gospel quartet group, because we were all politicized by the Black consciousness
Absolutely.
movement. And the student Christian movement was a vehicle.
Yeah, and to be an artist is to be conscious.
Yes, yeah. So yes, I then realized now that there was a purpose in God plucking me in there so that I can bring out that which I wanted to bring out through revolution, throwing stones, but I can do that through the arts. And I find strength, and sometimes I don't know where I find my interpretations of characters, what informs the characters that I play.
But it feels like they're in you, doesn't it?
Because they are there.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't think an actor creates a character. Characters are there. I mean, part of my prep is to go out there and find these people. I mean, the script for me is just a guide. And I shouldn't say this because people are going to fight with me. Producers are having a tough time with me. Because I look at the script and say, no, but this is what you say. This is not how it is out there in real life.
Yeah.
So I change and tone things
I
down.
know you're like that because we worked together on Hillside and you were problematic. But let's have a moment of silence for Ngusheng, guys. Do you remember Ngusheng?
Yeah.
Please tweet us, pop over to our Facebook page and tell me if you remember Ngusheng and all the stuff you got up to. We'll be right back with Patrick Shai on the couch. Thank you so much for joining us back on Afternoon Express live on SABC3. On the couch, we have Mr. Patrick Shai. So you've also done numerous international productions. Which one stands out in your mind as unforgettable for you?
We did Land of Dreams, The Land of Dreams with Anthony Shai. The significance of that movie was the fact that it was talking about the 15 guys who were put on death sentence because of their political involvement in the Eastern Cape. So it was addressing issues of the common purpose, the law of common purpose. But the fact that you were there and you were, you know, an accomplice to whatever happened, they banned, I think, 1 or 2 people then, they were arrested. And yeah, it was very important. It was an important story in the history of the struggle in South Africa. Then I went on to do Hold My Hand, I'm Dying, which was also about the liberation of Zimbabwe and the activism in Zimbabwe, where the character that I played ended up, you know, being hanged and stuff like that. So yes, internationally I have done quite a number. Others were like Bo Komskit and Alan Dai, which...
Cry the Beloved Country.
Cry the Beloved Country was also very important. I had a very small role in Cry the Beloved Country, in which I played
But they say a real actor knows that there's no such thing as a small role.
Yeah, I mean, I had a wonderful moment meeting Richard Harris.
Yeah.
In the morning, and you get told, hey, Mr. Harris, you don't talk to Mr. Harris, you don't greet him, you don't
look him in the eye.
Don't look him in the eyes. And there was a Teramelt.
Look at you, just kidding. Glasses of water just coming when you need them. Yeah.
So there's me walking on set. I've just had my breakfast, my makeup, and I meet this guy. We've been warned not to Ramotwaila, Ramotlagatlake.
Let's
next you. The scene begins. Darrell Roth is directing that day. It's a small scene, but a very important scene because it deals with the loss of his son, who was killed by a black a child in Sophia Town. So there's he comes in, they start blocking, we rehearse, as Mnandi, does ni chandis ni, hey yo, change the blocking, Darrell wrote, the director must say about him, I'm sitting, they say, just call action. Like volume it's or 2 V's.
Yeah.
Then we started. Then we did take 1, then we did take 2. Then he stood up and said, but now this guy is too busy. He's not even looking at me, because I just played it deadpan, looking away from him.
Yeah.
The only moment I looked at him was when I addressed him to say, do you think I sent my boy to go and kill your boy?
Yes.
But otherwise, there was no eye-to-eye contact. And at the end of it, he then asked me, which school did you study at? I've never seen anybody handle a small part and make it so big.
It's amazing.
And people remember that small part, and yet it was so big. But what is interesting in the industry is that you meet these people who are big shots, who think they know it all.
Yes.
And they forget that we have the texture. We have the unwritten...
The nuance, yes.
The nuances of the story.
Yes.
And South Africa has got some of the best actors in this country.
Absolutely,
Best talent.
absolutely. Great talent.
In this country. We can tell stories from, you know, deep down here.
Yes. I don't want to end this conversation without us talking about this huge role that you play in gender-based violence in South Africa. And you're also a spokesperson and an advocate against gender-based violence. And you've started an organization called Kulumandota. Tell us about the work that you do.
Well, I must first start off by saying I am a reformed perpetrator of gender-based violence. I took my wife through a whole lot of things, and the whole program, Yakulumandota, is based on my own personal experience. It's not, for me, it was an opportunity. It was a responsibility more so than any other thing to take a responsible position in my life and say I am addressing issues that enables the violation of the rights of women. But also I am mindful of a number of actors that I started with. For instance, in Bupilokisempeku, we had the lady that played Samantha, who was also femicided, killed by a boyfriend. The girl that played my wife in Soul City was also killed, tabang, by a boyfriend. So, and so many people we know of. So in terms of my area of focus, I'm looking at changing men's perspective towards women, creating a place of wellness towards for Majita and the small and the young boys growing. And I'm saying to them, if I could change and become this person that I am today, you too can. It's appalling to read every day that so many girls are raped, so many women are killed, so many girls, even young little kids are raped at the draws and stuff like that. And you begin to ask yourself, what kind of men are we in South Africa today? But then, you know, in my interactions, I've tend to look at what also apartheid has contributed to the kind of an African man that we have today here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an onion. Values, it just keeps on going.
You understand?
Yeah.
All those things. But now, there's a summit that is closing up today. It started yesterday, called by the president.
Yes.
To investigate what is it that needs to be done, defining the role of men and for women to, for the first time, be given a platform to say what is it they're doing.
I'm really proud of you for just being such a shining example and also to just hold yourself accountable in such a public way. You really make us proud. Thank you so much.
Itara. Kulumandota. Spirit.